Welcome to another episode of Back to Basics. I'm Ben. Today we will talk about how to control bot traffic in AWS to better secure your architecture. Let's first start by defining what bot traffic is. Bot traffic can be defined as any non-human traffic to your internet-based website or application. Common bots consist of both good bots and bad bots. First, we'll go over some examples of good bots. There are search engine bots such as Googlebot that can update their indices of your website's content to provide end users relevant results. Also, there are monitoring bots that will ping your website to ensure that it's working and online. However, there are also bad bots such as web scrapers, vulnerability scanners, and spam bots that you want to block before it reaches your infrastructure and application. Now, the best way to protect your application against this type of traffic in AWS is to use AWS WAF. AWS WAF is a fully managed web application firewall that helps protect your web applications or APIs. In general, this is against common web exploits and bots that may affect availability, compromise security, or consume excessive resources. With AWS WAF, you can block common attack patterns and customize rules that filter out specific traffic patterns. AWS WAF also automatically scales based on incoming traffic. You only have to pay for what you use, and the pricing is determined by the number of rules you deploy, along with the number of web requests your application receives. To get started, you can create an AWS WAF web ACL and associate it with either your Cloudflare distribution, application load balancer, API gateway, or your GraphQL APIs in AWS Sync. Once you start building out your web ACL, you can start looking to solutions like the AWS WAF bot control or create rate limiting rules. In addition, you can use features in the AWS WAF security automations guide to address incoming traffic and to customize the design based on your architectural needs. Now let's go over some of these features and details and describe how we can address and control incoming bot traffic. The AWS Bot Control Rule Group helps manage bot activity to your site by identifying, categorizing, and detecting high-confidence signatures of bots. In the WAF console, you can see a sampling of how much of your web application's current traffic is coming from bots. Although the rule group is fully managed, there may be cases of it blocking legitimate traffic, also known as false positives, and you would want to either use scope.net statements or WAF labels to customize it to minimize that. AWS Bot Control doesn't block bots that are known by AWS to be common and verifiable bots, so it's designed to minimize these errors by default. False positives come with almost any WAF solution, so you would need to consider a fair trade-off between blocking and allowing your legitimate traffic. A common attack pattern called a Ddos Attack uses bots to try to overload your application with floods of requests. Here, you can set up a WAF rate-based rule that can block requests from these bots after reaching a desired threshold. In this case, you would want to set a blanket rate-based rule that is 2 to 3 times repeat traffic so you don't accidentally block your customers. I do encourage you to dive deeper into your application logs to determine the traffic behavior and fine-tune multiple rate-based rules to reduce the attack surface. Next, the AWS WAF security automation template is a popular go-to CloudFormation template to add custom features and rules to your web ACL. Here, I want to talk about 3 different features. First, we have a feature that blocks reputation lists, which uses the CloudWatch event to trigger a Lambda function every hour. This checks third-party lists for updated malicious IP ranges and adds that to the AWS WAF deny rule set. AWS does provide their own IP reputation rule in the AWS managed rule groups as well, which is easier to use with just a couple of clicks. One behavior that scanners and probes tend to follow is they generate HTTP 404 errors on web applications as they're looking for pages that do not exist on your website. The second feature of the WAF security automation template accounts for this behavior. Here, the CloudFormation template deploys a Lambda function and Athena resource to identify specific error codes in your application logs. It then adds the IP address to an IP block rule once the error code count reaches the threshold you define. You can also customize this to look for other request details if you're seeing any other bot behavior. Lastly, the template allows for adding a honeypot to your application that can be helpful to address bot behavior as well. A honeypot is a hidden link that is embedded into your application code. Humans generally would not click on this. The way to do this is by leveraging an API gateway endpoint, which will then trigger a Lambda function and add the bot's IP address to a WAF block list. Using WAF allows you to block traffic at the edge before it even reaches your application. Setting up bot control mechanisms directly in your application requires you to scale your resources to match the additional demand, which can be unpredictable and cause potential bottlenecks. Also, you would need to configure your own mechanisms to detect bots, where AWS has a dedicated threat research team. Lastly, when testing your web-ACL, we highly recommend setting rules to count instead of block for baselining, so you can customize it further until you're comfortable with deploying it to production. WAF can help protect your application at the edge, but you'll need to understand that security doesn't stop there. You should scrutinize each layer of your architecture for additional protective capabilities. In this episode, we explored how bot traffic can behave and how AWS WAF enables security at the edge before it reaches your application. Feel free to check out the links below for more details. Thank you for watching Back to Basics. See you next time.